Welcome back to it, guys, in our morning show where we're talking the Manly Man Bootcamp. And I'm pretty keen on this one, so I'm happy to have Mr. Alvin Brown, the Manly Man creator, join us here on the Now Morning Show. Good morning and welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Necessary, and as we were seeing in the conversation during the break, something that we see iterations of changing in the future. But this being the 4th edition, tell the world what the Manly Man Bootcamp is all about.
Well, the Manly Man Bootcamp basically gives young men different life skills. So we're talking about how to develop emotional intelligence, the fact that we have a lot of men who don't necessarily know how to cook, how to change a car tire, things that they basically need in life. Oftentimes, a lot of in Trinidad and Tobago, according to statistics, 30% of young men come from fatherless homes. And therefore, they don't have the ability to get certain skills from their fathers. And even if there's a father there, they might be busy, they might work offshore, etc. So there is a need for certain skills which are not necessarily represented in society.
Gotcha. Glad you're picking up the mantle, but then what age groups are we looking at specifically?
For this one, we're going from 8 to 14.
And this being the 4th edition, is it that others touched on different age groups?
Well, yes. The one before we ran from, the first one was from 12 to 14, but we realized that there are a number of individuals who wanted to get their sons in. And if you're mature, if you have a mature 8-year-old, then no problem. Additionally, the things that we do differ. So the first one, we had them create an extension cord from scratch. They went home with it. And so this one, we're not looking at electricity, but we're going to be teaching them basic plumbing. Because you don't want a pipe burst in the middle of the night and the place flood out and you can't do anything about it.
I like this.
We can do some work.
Yeah, why
not? The whole idea is to give young men responsibility. Oftentimes we talk about men who are childish. We talk about men who don't take up their responsibilities, but men must be given responsibility. Once you show them what they're capable of doing, life is good.
I like that approach, showing them what they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
What were some of the findings from the last 3, even this 4th one, in terms of feedback then?
It's been really, really positive. When we gave them their tools to carry home, I remember one iteration, we had them create the extension cord and we were able to give them tools to carry home. One mother told me that her son just walking up and down in the house looking for something to fix. So it gives them a certain empowerment, which we need for men, because, I mean, what we see often when it comes down to crime is a lot of individuals who, they lack an identity. According to statistics, 90% of gang members are from fatherless homes. 85% of youth in prison are from fatherless homes. So we have a lot of young men who are searching for an identity. And what we don't want is for them to find that identity elsewhere. We want them to know that they are intelligent, they're capable of great things, and give them the skills to prove their abilities.
It sounds like a beautiful endeavor, again. And I like that there is variation in terms of what are their main goals, along with these additional things that everybody could use. And so in terms of registering, when do we do that? How do we do that?
Well, registering is now. And as long as they contact us via WhatsApp 3630006, then they can get the registration form. We already have persons registering, so, grab it while you can.
What sorts of numbers are you looking at for maximums, though?
Well, this one, we're going at least 30. Normally, we have 15, but we want to push it. We have a larger space as well. And so, we'll go hard or go home.
Yeah, I like that energy. But I know you're not doing this alone. Who are your partners or the energies?
Well, I'm happy that you asked that question. We try to get sponsors in. For this particular one, we currently don't have official sponsors, so we're in the process of. It began as self-sponsoring. I do have a few private sponsors that come on board as well, but right now we haven't concretized the sponsors.
So opportunities for sponsors exist.
Yes.
And are we looking at, even in terms of the persons who will educate these young men in the field, well, in this particular case of plumbing, would we be open to having plumbers come on and volunteer their time and resources as well?
We have We definitely, and for this one, we have plumbing, we have cooking, because I mean, man love them belly,
Everybody
right? For sure. We have self-defense, we have someone coming in to show them how to change a car tire, how to check the oil, all that fun stuff. So we have a number of activities, and of course, we're also working on developing emotional intelligence, because that is extremely needed. We see a lot of abuse in homes. We see a lot of these things, and one of the challenges we have is ensuring that men are capable of handling themselves emotionally, men and women. But this one is focusing on men. We're also going to be having other boot camps for the young ladies, because I mean, a young lady needs to know to change a car tire as well,
Agreed. But also to interact with these same young men. And as we were saying before, there is that need to, of course, focus and, as you say, empower them first and foremost, young men, that is.
Yeah.
So will the collaborative or co-ed version take the same shape in terms of the same sorts of life skills?
It would, but it wouldn't. So I'm not looking at one for co-ed just yet. I want it to be separate, because there are some when you have, so there are advantages and disadvantages to everything in life. So when you have the separation, you're able to connect and have conversations which you wouldn't necessarily be comfortable having if it were co-ed.
Right.
But yeah.
Future thoughts. What is a manly man to you, though, Mr. Brown? Because when we talk about those life skills, we identify that everybody needs them. When you talk about that emotional need, there are specific differences between male and females.
Yeah.
So who is a manly man?
The most important thing is a manly man is someone who is an adult male who constantly improves, because nobody's perfect. And so the whole idea is you focus on the physical aspect, become better. You focus on the spiritual aspect, become better. You focus on emotional aspects, become better. You find that there is a need, a lack in life, and you adjust and you fill that need.
I love that. And just before we wrap things up, I couldn't help but notice the accent. And so you are a Caribbean man. Tell me what you think, well, first off, in terms of differences, because you know your statistics for Trinidad, but I'm sure that it's Jamaica, right?
Yeah,
You're Jamaican, right?
Definitely.
So I'm sure we could have contrast and comparisons to other Caribbean men. What do you think the plight of the Caribbean man is? I will not ask you specifically from Trinidad or Jamaica.
The plight of the Caribbean man is not having positive male role models in their lives. There's a saying that we have better fathers now, and we had better husbands before. So we had more men who were in the home and who were there. They weren't necessarily there emotionally. Right. We have better fathers now. We have more men who, hey, I know I need to change a diaper. I need to go and take up my child. They're focused more now on improving their relationship with their child, because they didn't necessarily have that relationship with their father, but they don't necessarily have a healthy relationship with the child's mother. So what we have to appreciate is both are important, because to build a man who's capable of having healthy relationships, he needs to see healthy relationships around him. But these are some of the delicate but necessary conversations that we have to have.
And we're going to have those conversations in an age-appropriate version from the 14th to the 23rd of July at the Manly Man Bootcamp.
And we also connect with the parents as well, because it's not just with me speaking with the young men or the others speaking with the young men, but it's giving mothers the communication skills to appreciate that a man and a woman communicates differently. It's encouraging the father to spend quality time with his son, because predators like to isolate children. And if they see that there's a lack of connection, they will use it and get into like a slithering serpent,
And in that case, remind persons of how they can register and any costs associated.
Once you WhatsApp us at 363-0006, we will send you the information. You can also check us out on the Manly Man series at Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
And in terms of that actual registration, is there a cost associated?
Yes. So it's 100, sorry. Haha, funny. It's 1,500 for the entire period. And of course, food you have everything. Everything is covered with that. Food, which is extremely important.
I mean, I really like your emphasis on the food, but they will learn other skills and other things that they need to take on the world and become manly men. So I'm wishing you the best of luck and reminding sponsors that they can be a part of this as well, because it definitely is necessary. We want more manly men out there. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Best of luck with you and the boys. And you guys stick around. After this break, we've got even more here on the Now Morning Show. We'll be back after these messages.